My name is Naomi. I am 28 years old. And if I told you that my life looks perfect from the outside, you would believe me. I have a small but steady job. I have my own place. I have my health. But the one thing that has always kept me going, the one thing that has never changed, is my mom. Her name is Linda, and she is everything to me. When I was young, it was just the two of us. My dad left before I could even remember his face. So it was always me and my mom. She worked 2 jobs just to make sure I had what I needed. She never complained. She never let me see her cry, even though I know now that she did. Late at night, when she thought I was asleep, I could hear her. And even then, I never once heard her say life was unfair. She just kept going. And because of her, I learned to keep going too. Growing up, my mom was my whole world. She taught me how to be strong. She taught me how to be kind. And she taught me something that I carry with me every single day. She taught me that family is not just about blood. It is about the people who stay. The people who show up. The people who love you even when it is hard. But not everyone in my family understood that. My mom has a younger sister. Her name is Jessica. Jessica is 42 years old. And to most people, she looks like the sweetest woman in the room. She smiles wide. She brings gifts. She laughs at all the right moments. But I have known Jessica my whole life, and I know the truth about her. The truth that no one else sees. Jessica has never liked me. I do not know why. Maybe she was jealous of how close my mom and I are. Maybe she felt left out. I do not know. But what I do know is that she has spent years making me feel small. It was never loud. It was never in front of people. It was always quiet. A look across the room. A comment that sounded like a joke but was not a joke at all. Small things. Things that would make you question yourself if you were the only one who heard them. And I was always the only one who heard them. There is one moment I have never forgotten. I was 12 years old. Jessica came over for dinner. After dinner, my mom stepped out of the room for just a moment. And Jessica looked at me and said, very calmly, "You know, Linda would have so much more peace in her life if she did not have to worry about you all the time." I was 12. I did not fully understand what she meant, but I felt it. I felt it in my chest like a stone. My mom never knew she said that. And for years, I kept it to myself. I did not want to cause problems. I did not want to make my mom choose. So I stayed quiet and I smiled. But that was before my mom's 60th birthday. That was before Jessica said something so cruel right in front of me. That even my smile could not hide what was happening inside. That part of the story, I will tell you next. I had spent weeks preparing for my mom's 60th birthday. Every detail mattered to me. The flowers on the table, the candles on the cake, the way the lights were set so the room would feel warm. Because my mom, she never asked for much in her life. She never asked for expensive things. She just wanted to feel loved. And on this night, I wanted her to feel it more than ever. And for a while, she did. The house was full. My best friend Rachel was there, sitting in the corner with a glass of wine and that quiet smile she always has, the one that tells me she is watching everything. My cousin Diane had driven 2 hours just to be there. She walked in with a hug so tight it almost knocked me over. And my mom was glowing. She was laughing. She was hugging everyone. She looked younger than I had ever seen her look. And watching her that night, I felt something I do not feel very often. I felt proud. Proud that I could give her this. Then Jessica walked in. She was late. She always is. She came through the door with a bottle of red wine in one hand and that big smile on her face, the one she wears like a mask. She went straight to my mom. She hugged her. She said happy birthday in that sweet voice of hers. And everyone smiled back. Because that is what Jessica does. She makes people feel like she is the warmest person in the room. But I was in the kitchen. And when she passed me, just for 1 second, that smile dropped. It was so fast that if you blinked, you would have missed it. Her eyes went cold, just for a moment, and then it was gone. She kept walking. She grabbed a glass and joined the crowd like nothing had happened. But I felt it. I felt it the way you feel a change in the weather before the storm even starts. The night went on. People were talking. Music was playing softly in the background. I was standing near the cake table, fixing the candles one more time, making sure everything looked right. And then she was there, right beside me. She did not look at me. She did not turn her head. She just leaned in close enough that I could hear every single word, and she whispered, "I hate seeing you every day. I wish you were never born." That is it. That is exactly what she said. Word for word, like it was nothing. Like she was commenting on the weather. Like she was telling me the cake needed more frosting. She said it, and then she pulled back, picked up her glass, and walked away. Back into the crowd, back into the laughter. Back into the version of herself that everyone loved. And I just stood there. My hands were shaking. I could feel my heart beating so hard it hurt. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run after her and say it in front of everyone. Say what she has been doing to me for years. But I did not. I did not move. I did not cry. I did not even let my face change. I just smiled. But this time, that smile was not the same. This time, something inside me had broken open. Something that had been locked away for a very long time. And I knew right then and right there that I was done. Done being the quiet one. Done pretending it did not hurt. Done protecting a woman who had spent her whole life trying to make me disappear. That night, something changed in me. And Jessica had no idea what was coming that night. I did not sleep. I lay in my bed with my eyes open, staring at the ceiling. The house was dark. The street outside was quiet. But inside my head, it was loud. Jessica's voice kept playing over and over. Not like a memory, like a recording. Like someone had pressed play and I could not find the button to stop it. "I hate seeing you every day. I wish you were never born." I heard it again, and again, and again. But here is the thing, and this is the part that surprised even me. After a few hours, the pain did not get bigger. It got smaller. And something else started to grow in its place. Something I had never felt before. Not sadness. Not tears. It was anger. Quiet, cold, burning anger. The kind that does not make you cry. The kind that makes you sit up in the dark and start thinking. Because for the first time in my life, I did not want to just survive what Jessica had done to me. I wanted to understand it, so I started asking questions. I called Rachel the next evening. Rachel is the kind of friend who does not sugarcoat anything. She is honest. Sometimes too honest. But that is exactly what I needed. I told her everything, every word Jessica had said at the party. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. And then Rachel said something that made my blood go cold. "Naomi, you really don't know." I asked her what she meant, and she told me. She told me that Jessica had been talking about me for years, not just to me, not just behind closed doors, to other people, to family members, to people at church, to anyone who would listen. Rachel said that Jessica had been telling everyone that I was the problem, that I was controlling, that I kept my mom away from the rest of the family on purpose, that I was selfish, that Linda deserved better than a daughter like me. I sat on my couch. I did not move. I did not breathe. I just listened. Rachel kept going. She said she had heard it from two different people she trusted, people who believed every single word Jessica had said, and no one ever told me. Not one person in my family ever came to me and said, "Hey, Naomi, do you know what people are saying about you?" Because they all believed her. That was the moment everything changed. Not when Jessica whispered those words at the party. Not when I was 12 and she told me my mom would be happier without me. This was the moment. Right here. Sitting alone in my quiet apartment, phone pressed against my ear. Learning that the woman I had been protecting my whole life by staying silent, by not causing problems, by smiling through the pain, had been quietly destroying my name for years. And I never knew. I hung up the phone. I put it face down on the table. And I sat there for a long time in the dark thinking I knew one thing for sure. I could not just react. If I called Jessica, if I confronted her, If I caused a scene, she would win, because she had already told everyone her version of the story. And mine had never been heard. Not yet, but it was going to be. And when it did, Jessica was not going to see it coming. For 2 weeks after that phone call with Rachel, I did not contact anyone, not Jessica, not my mom, not even Diane. I just went to work. I came home. I ate dinner alone. I sat on my couch in the dark and I thought, because I needed to be sure. I needed to make sure that what I was about to do, I was doing it for the right reason. Not out of anger, not out of hurt, but because it was the truth. And the truth deserved to be heard. I had spent my whole life letting other people tell my story. Jessica had been writing it for years, and I never even knew the pages existed. She had painted me as the villain, the controlling daughter, the woman who kept Linda locked away from everyone. And people read it. People believed it. Because I was never there to say otherwise. That ended now, but I had to be smart. That was the one thing I kept telling myself every single night. Be smart, Naomi. Do not blow up. Do not scream. Do not give her the chance to say you are crazy. You have to be calm. You have to be so calm that no one can deny what they are hearing. So I called Diane. Diane is my cousin. She is 2 years younger than me, but sometimes she feels like the older one. She has always been the quiet observer in our family, the one who watches, the one who notices things no one else does. When I told her everything, Jessica's words at the party, what Rachel had told me, all of it, Diane did not sound surprised. She just went quiet for a moment. And then she said very simply, I have been waiting for you to see it, Naomi. Those words hit me harder than anything Jessica had ever said. Together, we made a plan. And it was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was simple. Diane suggested we bring the family together again, not for a big event, just a small lunch at my mom's house. Nothing fancy. Just the people who mattered. Close family. A casual Sunday. The kind of gathering where no one would think twice about showing up. And Jessica would come too. Because she always does. She never turns down a chance to be in the room, but this time I would be ready. I decided to write a letter. Not an angry letter. Not a letter full of accusations. A letter about me. About my life. About my mom. About what it has felt like to grow up feeling like I was never enough. Not because I believed it, but because someone kept whispering it to me for years. A letter that told the truth. My truth. The one no one had ever heard. Writing it was the hardest thing I have ever done. I sat at my kitchen table at 2 a.m. The house was completely silent. My hands were wrapped around a cup of tea that had already gone cold. And I just sat there staring at the blank page. Because how do you put something like that into words? How do you write down years of pain without sounding bitter? How do you say someone in my own family made me feel unwanted and still sound like the person you want to be? I did not know. But I started writing anyway. And the moment the first words came out, something inside me broke open. Not in a bad way. In a way that felt like breathing again after being underwater for a very long time. The words did not come from anger. They came from somewhere much deeper. Somewhere I had kept locked away. Somewhere even I had forgotten existed. My hand was steady. My heart was not. But I kept writing because this letter was not just for Jessica. It was not just for my mom. It was for me. It was for every single time I smiled when I should have spoken. And this time I was not going to smile. Sunday came faster than I expected. I had spent the whole week before that lunch barely sleeping. Every night I would sit at my kitchen table and read the letter again. And again. I would change a word here. Remove a sentence there. Not because I wanted it to sound perfect, but because I wanted it to sound real. I wanted every single word to feel like it came from the deepest part of me. Because it did. The morning of the lunch, I woke up and my hands were shaking. I stood in front of the mirror and I looked at myself for a long time. I barely recognized the woman staring back. She looked tired. She looked scared. But there was something else in her eyes too. Something that had not been there before. something quiet. Something that said, "Today's the day." I folded the letter carefully. I put it in my bag, and I drove to my mom's house. When I walked in, the table was already set. Diane was in the kitchen, putting the last dish down. She looked at me and gave me a small nod. Just one nod. That was all I needed. Rachel was already sitting in her usual spot, the corner chair, the one where she could see everything. She had a glass of water in front of her. She was not drinking it. She was watching the door. My mom came out of her bedroom and smiled when she saw us. She did not know what was about to happen. She thought it was just a casual lunch, a nice Sunday with family. And for a little while it was. Then Jessica walked in. She came through the door the same way she always does, confident, easy, like she owned every room she entered. She smiled at my mom. She said hello to Diane. She sat down at the table and folded her napkin neatly in her lap. And for just 1 second, just one, her eyes moved to me. I saw it, a flicker. Something behind that smile. Like she was checking. Like she was making sure everything was still the way she had left it. It was not. Lunch went on for a while. We ate. We talked. My mom told a story from when she was younger and everyone laughed. It felt normal. It felt safe. And I let it. I let the moment breathe because I knew what was coming. And I needed everyone else to feel comfortable first. I needed them to feel like this was just a regular day. Because what I was about to do, it would only work if no one saw it coming. Then I stood up. The table went quiet. Not loud, quiet. Just a stillness. Like the air in the room had stopped moving. Every pair of eyes turned to me. My mom tilted her head slightly, confused. Diane kept her face calm. Rachel did not move at all. I looked at all of them. And then I spoke. I have something I want to share with you. Something I have been holding inside for a very long time. I hope you will just listen. No one said a word. I reached into my bag. I pulled out the letter. My fingers were trembling so hard I almost dropped it. But I held on. I unfolded it slowly. And I began to read. I read about my mom first. About how she was the strongest woman I had ever known. About how she raised me alone and never once made me feel like I was a burden. About how every good thing inside me, every bit of kindness, every bit of strength came from her. And as I read those words out loud, my mom's hand moved up to her mouth. Her eyes filled with tears. But she did not look away. Then I kept reading. I wrote about the loneliness. About what it felt like to grow up believing that someone in my own family did not want me to exist. About the years of silence. About the comments that no one else heard. About the way I learned to smile, not because I was happy, but because smiling was the only way I could survive in a room where someone was quietly trying to erase me. I did not say Jessica's name. Not once. I did not have to, because when I looked up from the letter, every single person at that table was already looking at her dot. Jessica was sitting completely still. Her face had gone white. Her hands were flat on the table. She was not breathing. She opened her mouth just slightly like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out. Not one word. The room was silent, and for the first time in my life, I was not the one hiding behind a smile. No one moved. The silence in that room was not empty. It was full. It was full of everything that had been hidden for years. Every comment Jessica had ever made. Every lie she had spread. Every time I had swallowed the pain and smiled like it did not exist. All of it was sitting right there on that table, invisible. But everyone could feel it. And then my mom stood up. She did not rush. She did not make a sound. She just pushed her chair back slowly and walked toward me. And when she reached me, she stopped. She looked at my face. And then she did something she had not done since I was very small. She held my face in both of her hands, gently, like I was something precious, like I was something she was seeing for the very first time. Her eyes were wet. Her lips were trembling. But her voice was steady. "Naomi," she said, "I know. I have always known." Those words broke something inside me that I did not even know was still holding together. I felt my chest crack open. I felt the tears come, the ones I had been holding back for weeks, for years, for my entire life. And I let them fall, because for the first time someone had finally said it out loud. Someone had finally told me, you are not imagining this. It is real, and I see it. My mom squeezed my hands, and then she turned around. She turned to face Jessica. The room held its breath. Jessica was still sitting in her chair, but she was not the same woman who had walked through that door 2 hours ago. The confidence was gone. The mask was gone. She looked smaller somehow, cornered. Her eyes moved from my mom to me and back again. And then she opened her mouth. Linda, I did not mean. My mom stopped her. Not with anger, not with raised voice. She stopped her with something much quieter, something much stronger. She simply held up her hand, and Jessica went silent. My mom spoke slowly. Every word was chosen. Every word was calm. Jessica, I am not blind. I have watched the way you have treated my daughter for a very long time. I have seen the looks. I have heard the comments, and I have seen what it has done to her. I stayed quiet because I thought maybe it will stop. Maybe she will change. My mom paused. She took a breath. But it did not stop, and you did not change. Oh. Jessica opened her mouth again. Her face had gone red. She tried to say something, tried to explain, to justify, to twist the story one more time the way she always had. But my mom shook her head. Just once. You can come back, my mom said, when you are ready to be kind. That was it. That was all she said. Jessica sat there for a long moment. The whole room was watching her. Diane, Rachel, me, all of us. And Jessica knew. She knew there was nothing left to say. No version of this she could spin. No smile she could put on that would fix what had just happened in this room. She stood up quietly. She picked up her jacket from the back of the chair. She did not look at anyone. She did not say goodbye. She just walked to the door, opened it, and stepped outside. And the door closed behind her with the softest click. The house felt different after that. It's like something heavy had been lifted out of the air. Like the walls could finally breathe. Later that evening, my mom and I sat on the back porch together. The sun was going down. Sky was that colorate. Get soft orange and pink, the kind that makes everything look still. We did not talk much. We did not need to. She was sitting in her old wooden chair. I was beside her. And at some point she reached over and squeezed my hand. I looked at her and she smiled at me. Not a smile to hide something. Not a smile to keep the peace. Just a smile. A real one. The kind that comes from somewhere deep inside. The kind that says, we are okay. We made it through. And I smiled back. But this time, this smile was mine. It was not a mask. It was not survival. It was not the smile of a girl who had learned to hide her pain behind a pleasant face. It was the smile of a woman who had finally, after all these years, stopped being silent. And I will never go back to that silence again. If someone in your life has ever made you feel like you do not belong, even someone you love, remember, this staying quiet does not make you weak. But knowing when to finally speak, that is the strongest thing you can ever do. This story touched something inside you. If it felt close to something you have lived through, you are not alone. So if you felt something watching this, hit that like button. Subscribe because I have more stories just like this coming. And drop a comment below. Tell me, has someone ever said something cruel to you and smiled like it was nothing? I want to hear your story.